Sarah Carr here with the Limerick Post Show, and I'm joined today by Anne-Marie Hayes, who is the fundraising coordinator for Milford Care Centre. How are you keeping?
Hi Sarah, how are you?
Good, great that things are going back to normal now, isn't it? We were just saying beforehand, we're delighted to see things going back.
Yeah, it's great because I think a lot of people are getting vaccinated now. So it's all helping some bit in some shape and form. So, for us here in the centre, people can come and visit their loved ones at certain times now with the nursing home and so forth. So, which is great that they can see their families and so forth. So the restrictions aren't like they were, say, at Christmas time.
Yeah, people are feeling safer, I think.
Absolutely. And it's, as we say, life is coming back somewhat to normality, but what the new norm is going to be, I'm sure will emerge at some stage.
Yeah. So I suppose for people who don't know, do you want to tell us a bit about Milford Care Centre and the services that you provide for people?
Okay, well, I work in the palliative care section, and that's in the fundraising area, and I fundraise for the hospice. So all the services that we provide in the community and in the inpatient unit is partly funded by the HSE, and then the remainder I have to make up through fundraising events in the year. So my target could be up to 1.2 million per year, and that's to keep the services going. And it's most important that we provide a service because, it's what families need at a time and at an hour of their need. So Milford serves the people of the Midwest, which is Clare, Limerick and North Tipperary. So we have the inpatient unit and we have the hospice at home service as well.
Lovely. And how have you found that the past year now has affected your fundraising? Because obviously you haven't been able to get onto the streets like you'd have liked to.
Yeah, our fundraising has been challenged hugely. And obviously that the first event of the new year will be our 10K. So we just managed to get that in 2020, and then everything else changed and the world changed then from March onwards. And we had to enter the new world of everything becoming virtual. Yeah. So we had virtual coffee morning, then we had sunflower days, which we'll be discussing now, which is our campaign, and that became virtual. So, and then Light Up a Memory at Christmas time was a virtual campaign as well. So then in January of this year, we thought, we'll be back somewhat to normal in some shape and form, but that wasn't to be, because no mass gatherings were allowed and so forth. So we had our 10K, which was a virtual event. And indeed, last weekend, we had the virtual memorial walk. So right now, at this moment in time, we're getting prepared for Sunflower Days. And Sunflower Days is a national campaign that happens with all the hospices throughout Ireland. And believe it or not, it's now in its 31st year. So I suppose people get a little bit confused because they go, is that not Daffodil Day? And Daffodil Day is the Irish Cancer Society, and Sunflower Days is for all the hospices. So the one key message about Sunflower Days is what's raised local stays local. So when we would have been out on the streets, as we say, it will be our only flag day that you'd see Milford Hospice out on the streets and in shopping centres is always the second weekend in June. And we will be selling sunflower merchandise, and all of the monies that will be raised locally then will come in here to help fund the services provided by Milford Hospice. So we had to rethink how we were going to do Sunflower Days this year, and that was going to be suitable for all the 26 hospice groups throughout Ireland. So we decided on the actual virtual Sunflower Day, and it's going to be a remembrance garden. And it's actually a beautiful concept, where a lot of people can log on to sunflowerdays.ie and they can dedicate a sunflower in memory of their loved one. And it's great because you're supporting the services of Milford Hospice, and normally out of Sunflower Days across the national campaign, we would raise somewhere in the region of 780,000. So that's a lot of money from us out on the street selling sunflowers, you know.
Yeah.
So, of course, as a result of all of that, we've now had to evolve and adapt. And with the Sunflower Garden, we're hoping that we can reach out to our supporters, and hopefully they will log on to sunflowerdays.ie. They'll be asked would they like to sponsor a sunflower in the Remembrance Garden, and then what happens is they can choose Milford Hospice, and then afterwards the monies will come to Milford through the national campaign when people choose Milford Hospice.
Yeah, amazing. And I suppose, do you want to give us a sense as well of what the money is used for in terms of supporting Milford, you know, why it's so important that you guys receive the funding that you usually would have otherwise?
Well, you know, what we try to do in the hospice is to give the best of care to patients and their families. And, you know, it's really looking after people's loved ones, our own loved ones, and giving them the support at a vulnerable time in their lives. You know, it's a very challenging and an emotional time for families. And we try to support as best we can families in the Midwest region that have to use our services. And they either can be looked after by our home care team at home, or they will come into our specialised unit here in the hospice. So we aim to mirror the services that we provide in the hospice, like we do out there in the community. So, for instance, this year, a lot of people would want to stay at home because of the visiting restrictions and so forth. And they would like to, as much as they can, have their loved ones stay at home. And our home care team would be out there and they become part of the family environment. And, you know, they're of a huge support. My colleagues are just amazing in the support that they provide to families and loved ones, and they give the reassurances and so forth. And then, you know, people come in to use the hospice services. And the great thing is they can come in, they're evaluated, their pain relief and so forth, and the whole lot, and they get to go home as well. And it is great to be able to provide that service here in the Midwest region to people that use our services. They come from Clare, Limerick, North Tipperary, and you know, when they're here, we have the complementary therapies, we have the music therapy, we have the horticulture garden that's here, and you know, our pastoral care team are there that are of huge support to families. And you know, it's what's needed for people at a vulnerable time in their lives, you know.
So there's obviously a lot of services that you provide, and between the at-home care and in-care at the hospice, do you find that there's a big demand on Milford Care Centre and that the community could benefit from having more services of its kind, do you think?
Yeah, there will always, and sadly there is a big demand on our services, you know, be it at home or in the community, or be it at home, sorry, or be it here in the hospice. So, you know, sometimes people would prefer to stay at home and be cared for in their own home. And then, you know, sometimes families say, well, we'd like them to go into the hospice for a break, and that gives relief to families too when they're here. And we look after them to the best of our ability, and you know, a rapport and a relationship is built up with families throughout. And even, you know, families come back to us afterwards and they're so appreciative of the support. But, you know, bottom line is, where would we be without the support of families in the community? I mean, they're amazing. They go out, they arrange fundraising events. if they don't arrange a fundraising event, they may see the sunflower box on the street and they say, you looked after a loved one or a friend or a family member belonged to me, and we're always thankful for that. And they will always throw €2, €3, whatever the amount is. And, you know, we never lose sight of the fact of the support that we receive from families. It's just amazing. People are just amazing to us, and we will never lose sight of that.
Yeah, there's definitely some amazing local support here. And I think as well, one of the really nice features of the virtual sunflower garden, that you can see all of the sunflowers that have been donated locally. And it's really nice that you get an idea of like how much the community cares, whereas like what you would have seen people wearing the sunflowers on the streets, instead you get to see it online, but you still get to see the community. It's really nice.
Yeah, we've all, it's amazing how we've all adapted to virtual and digital campaigns, and I think sadly in one sense a lot of campaigns will become digital and virtual, but you know, we very much look forward that we will be back out on the streets with our sunflowers next year. And you know, our volunteers, we have a brilliant relationship. Our volunteers are fantastic to us. And we've over 300 volunteers in the centre, and you know, between fundraising and that assist in other areas throughout the centre, in the inpatient unit and so forth, and you know, they are huge to us, and you know, they will help us to raise monies. And every year they come back and they always say that they enjoyed the time that they gave to being out in the street for 2 hours, because they're meeting with people and, you know, they're telling their stories of the services and what Milford means to them, you know, and some of the stories we hear are just amazing, you know, and it's something that we hold dear to our own hearts. So we want to be here, we want to provide the support, we want to develop the services here, and we can only do this with the support of doing fundraising campaigns like Sunflower Days. And this year with the virtual garden, it has really taken off, because people here are, you know, sponsoring a sunflower, and then their loved ones overseas might decide, oh God, I didn't realize I can support Milford from here in Dubai, or from here in the States, or indeed Australia. We would have a lot of supporters in Australia, and they will go online and they feel that they're benefiting as well and helping us. And there's a satisfaction there that they too can get involved with Sunflower Days and support the virtual garden. And, you know, I suppose it takes just 2 minutes to sponsor a sunflower, and it's in the virtual remembrance garden, you know. And as we say, it's together we remember. And, you know, in that garden, we're remembering people, you know, and it's also, you know, raising vital funds for the services that we need and will continue to need and will continue to grow.
Okay, so before I let you go, where can people go to find more information on Milford?
Now, information on us is through, obviously, the milfordcarecentre.ie. The sunflowerdays.ie is our national website, and that's where the Sunflower Days Remembrance Garden is. So when they log on to sunflowerdays.ie, they will be asked to choose the hospice that they are supporting. And on that drop-down menu, it will say Milford Hospice. And we're saying, please, we're appealing to everyone, if they could choose Milford Hospice and, you know, sponsor the sunflower, it would be truly, hugely thankful.
Okay. Well, thanks a million for coming on. It was great to chat. And hopefully
thank you, Sarah.
We'll be on the streets next year, fingers crossed.
We will. We are so looking forward to it, and so are our volunteers. It's back to what we know best.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.